स्वयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती नामिने श्रीवार्षभानवि देवी दयिताय कृपाब्धे कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभुवे नमः माधुर्योज्वल प्रेमाढ्य श्री रूपानुग भक्तिद श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्ते दीनतारिणी रूपानुग विरुद्ध अपसिद्धांत ध्वांत हारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्ते विप्रलंब रसाम्बोधे पादाम्बुजाय ते नमः नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय ते गौराविर्भाव भूमिष्ठ निर्दिष्ट सज्जन प्रिय वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतिषे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्ति जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय ओके। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते जयतां श्रुतोपं मम मंद मतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्व पदाम्बोजो राधा मदन मोहन दिव्य वृंदारण्य कृपा श्रीमद रत्नागार सिंहासनस्थो श्रीमद राधा श्री गोविंद देव पृष्ठाले सेवमानो स्मरामि श्रीमान राज रसारंभी वंशीवट तटस्थित दर्शन वेणु स्वनिर्गोपी गोपीनाथाय श्री तप्त कांचन गौरांग राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 ओम ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Hare Krishna. I welcome you all and seek your blessings so that I can do this service properly. So today we are at verse number 13, verse number 11 of 13th chapter. Dhritarashtra quits home. Text 11. अपिन सुहृदस्तात बान्धवा कृष्णदेवता दृष्टा श्रुत्वा वा यदवः स्वपुर्यां सुखमासते. My uncle, you must have visited Dwarka. In that holy place are our friends and well-wishers, the descendants of Yadu, who are always wrapped in the service of Lord Shri Krishna. You might have been seen them. You might have seen them or heard about them. Are they all living happily in their abodes? Purport.
The particular word Krishna Devataha, that is, those who are always wrapped in the service of Lord Krishna, is significant. The Yadavas and the Pandavas were always wrapped in the thought of the Lord Krishna and his different transcendental activities. Were all pure devotees of the Lord like Vidura. Vidura left home in order to devote himself completely to the service of the Lord. But the Pandavas and the Yadavas were always wrapped in thought of Lord Krishna. Thus, there is no difference in their pure devotional qualities. Either remaining at home or leaving home, the real qualification of a pure devotee is to become wrapped in the thought of Krishna favorably. That is, knowing well that Lord Krishna is the absolute personality of Godhead. Kamsa, Jarasandha, Sushupala, and the other demons like them were also always wrapped in the thought of Lord Krishna. But they were absorbed in a different way, namely unfavorably, or thinking him to be a powerful man only. Therefore, Kamsa and Susupala are not on the same level as pure devotees like Vidura, the Pandavas, and the Yadavas. Maharaj Yudhishthira was also always wrapped in the thought of Lord Krishna and his devotees associates at Dwaraka. Otherwise, he could not have asked all about them from Vidura. Maharaj Yudhishthira was therefore on the same level of devotion as Vidura, although engaged in state affairs of the kingdom of the world.
So here the quality which devotees appreciate in other devotees are mentioned. So what is that quality? So devotees feel happy when we are engaged in devotional service. Otherwise, there is no point. Wherever we are, situated, what will bring the happiness in the hearts of devotees is that we are engaged in the service of Lord. So even we are separated from our fellow devotees due to some reasons or something like that, somebody goes some other temple or somebody's changes ashram or whatever. But what gives happiness to us is the devotee is nicely situated in the service of Lord. So there is no separation because we are united by the service to Supreme Personality of God. But we are together and not serving Krishna. Physically, we are together, putting a hand in hand, or we are sitting very close, but not doing service to Lord, or sitting together and doing some other, worldly talks. So that will not give any happiness to the devotees. So here, Yudhishthir Maharaj was very much wanted to know that our Yadavas have situated it safely. They are with the Lord and they are serving Lord happily. That is what his question is, his concern is. So Yadavas were staying in Dwarka and we are staying in Vrindavan Chandra's abode. So we are also close associates of Lord. We are staying in his territory. So we should also be serving Krishna with rapt attention. Parents have left us thinking that baby is serving Lord. But if baby is doing some other things, then he is bereft of his moral duties also and spiritual duties also. So at least we are at the cost of giving so much pain to miss. Not all parents cried, but some parents will be happy that their son is in temple. But in general, parents they worry about why he left and all. So we should do nice devotional service, and that will give happiness to our spiritual masters and every other Vaishnava. And we should also be happy when devotees are nicely situated in Krishna's service. Next verse. Ityukto dharmarajena sarva tata samavarnayat yathanubhutam kramasho vinayidu kulakshayam. Thus being questioned by Maharaj Yudhishthir. ये भी लगा था. Thus being questioned by Maharaj Yudhishthir, Maharaj Vidura gradually described everything he had personally experienced except news of the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty. Nanva priyam durvishaham nunam swayam upasthitam navedayat sakaruno dukhitan drashtumakshamaha. Compassionate Mahatma Vidur could not stand to see the Pandavas distressed at any time. Therefore, he did not disclose this unpalatable and unbearable incident because calamities come of their own accord.
Purport. According to Niti Shastra, civic laws, one should not speak an unpalatable truth to cause distress to others. Distress comes upon us in its own way by the laws of nature. So one should not aggravate it by propaganda. For a compassionate soul like Vidura, especially in his dealings with beloved Pandavas, it was almost impossible to disclose an unpalatable piece of news like the annihilation of Yadu dynasty. Therefore, he purposely restrained from it.
So there are four qualities. Two are exhibited in the life of Vaishnavas and two are in a non-devotees. So they are Paradukha Dukhi and Parasukha Sukhi. These qualities are of Vaishnavas. Paradukha Sukhi and Parasukha Dukhi. That is the quality of materialistic people. So why people are eager to hear news? Why they want to read newspaper? So that they feel that I am not miserable. Somebody is raped, somebody is died in accident, but he is under fan with a cup of tea. He is reading newspaper peacefully. It doesn't make any difference to him, unless until it doesn't happens to his family members, immediate people. Then only he will feel that pain. And that's why they feel why they are spending so much money actually. Every Indian Times of India newspaper is equal to our small book. And people early in the morning, we also don't read so many with so much attention, even scriptural books. But they are doing nitya karma, it is, they will hear that news, means they will hear that news. News channel, and sometimes they have 24/7 news channel also to, for this category people. So previously people were miserable within their own town, whatever is happening, by hearing that. But now they want to know whole world what is going on. And there are no good news are happening. Nobody shows Ratha Yatra, nobody shows the Abhishek of Lord, or nobody shows, so many temples, Pushpajik happens or some festival happens. That no news channel comes and records it. Sometimes you have to pay for that. But as if some bad thing has happened, all these people go there. Even people want to avoid them, but still they will go there. So this is all mentality of fly, or a pig. They just wait for us some bad thing to take place. They all will be there, like a hovering bees, on that subject. And then they give that Uchishtalesha to all other people. They distribute, and everybody is taking that Mahaprasad, and they are feeling, I am happy. So what a definition of happiness they have made. Vaishnava is Vasudeva Kutumbakam. He feels the whole world is Krishna's abode. Everything belongs to Krishna. All humanities are related to Krishna. So Vaishnava's heart naturally feels, distress when somebody else is in pain. So that Vaishnava cannot tolerate. And this quality exhibited by now Vidur Maharaj. Although Lord has left, and he was there when Lord was living, in that with Maitreya Samvad, Vidura was there. So that news he didn't give because he was knowing that this will not give happiness to Pandavas and this is not good news. So he didn't give that news. But many times we see some people are very eager to give bad news to others. Somebody falls down somewhere, but this person is eager to, they feel a joy. First information reporter, to give the fresh news. You should hear from me that that prophecy of somebody is fallen, and I have become great by giving that news. So some entities get pleasure in that. But nobody will tell, I heard in Bhagavatam, I remember that point, I like to share you. That never comes in our mind. But something which is disturbing, something is, some devotee is in difficulty, that kind of data everybody wants to share and broadcast. So this mentality is a very not Krishna conscious mentality. This will not make us a better devotee. So rather we should not speak something which will give pain to others. When there are no facts, nothing is known to us. Something comes and we just add something in it, and then we magnify it and broadcast it as if it is given on a service to us. So that we should not do. So what devotees do when they come together? Satam prasanga Mahavirya Samvid. So anybody, we can understand that they are devotees or not by seeing what they discuss when they come together. If they are coming together and discussing worldly things, then they are we are devotees superficial. Just we are devotees for namesake. But when devotees come together, they discuss about Krishna. They get a relish. They relish to speak about Krishna, to hear about Krishna. Sometimes if you want to avoid some people, you just tell that let us sit together and we'll read. If some people come and trouble us now and then, they eat up our time, then you just tell that let us read together. Then you find them, they will not last long. They will say, I got stomach clearing, or I got this, I got that. And they will leave you. So we should not become that kind of person who is closed to devotees only for mundane discussions or material things. So we should go close to devotees to discuss about Krishna, to speak about Krishna, to hear about Krishna. So that is the mood of Vidur. So the most auspicious thing in this entire creation is discussing about Lord and his devotees. So that one should do. So Vidura didn't feel it's very important to discuss about the bad news of Lord leaving this planet. Kanchit kalamathavat sat itasat kruto devat sukham bhartrujeshtasya shreyasya Purutversha Sukhamavahan. Thus, Mahatma Vidura, being treated just like a godly person by his kinsman, remained there for a certain period just to rectify the mentality of his eldest brother, and in this way bring happiness to all the others.
Purport. Saintly persons like Vidura must be treated as well as denizen from heaven. In those days, denizens of heavenly planets used to visit homes like that of Maharaj Yudhishthir, and sometimes persons like Arjuna and others used to visit higher planets. Narada is, Narada is a spaceman who can travel unrestrictedly, not only within the material universes, but also in the spiritual universes. Even Narada used to visit the palace of Maharaj Yudhishthir, and what to speak of other celestial demigods. It is only spiritual culture of the people concerned that makes interplanetary travel possible, even in the present body. Maharaj Yudhishthir therefore received Vidura in the manner of reception offered to demigods. Mahatma Vidura had already adopted the renounced order of life, and therefore he did not return to his paternal palace to enjoy some material comforts. He accepted out of his own mercy what was offered to him by Maharaj Yudhishthir. But the purpose of living in the palace was to deliver his elder brother, Dhritarashtra, who was too much materially attached. Dhritarashtra lost all his state and descendants in the fight with Maharaj Yudhishthir, and still, due to his sense of helplessness, he did not feel ashamed to accept charity and hospitality of Maharaj Yudhishthir. On the part of Maharaj Yudhishthir, it was quite in order to maintain his uncle in a befitting manner. But acceptance of such magnanimous hospitality by Dhritarashtra was not at all desirable. He accepted it because he thought that there was no alternative. Vidura particularly came to enlighten Dhritarashtra and to give him a lift to the higher status of spiritual cognition. It is the duty of enlivened souls to deliver the fallen ones, and Vidura came for that reason. But talks of spiritual enlightenment are so refreshing that while instructing Dhritarashtra, Vidura attracted the attention of all the members of the family, and all of them took pleasure in hearing him patiently. This is the way of spiritual realization. The message should be heard attentively, and if spoken by a realized soul, it will act on the dormant heart of the conditioned soul. And by continuously hearing, one can attain the perfect stage of self realization.
So the freedom is awarded depending upon the service one renders. So there are living entities which have very less freedom, but there are some living entities which have more freedom because they are doing bigger service. Like Mother Teresa, they gave her, Indian government gave her what they gave? Facility. She can travel anywhere for the benefit of people. Why they give that facility? Because she's serving people. So same way, devotees also get that much freedom to travel, or they travel so much that they are allowed even traveling interplanetary, like Narad Muni. So Vidura came back not to enjoy the success of Yudhishthira Maharaj, that he became king. To stay in king's palace is everybody's dream actually. But here Vidura didn't came to the house of Yudhishthira Maharaj to enjoy that royal, facilities. But he just came there to deliver somebody. So their walk, their movement is always for benefiting others. Their talk also is for benefiting for others. So Vaishnavas, every action is itself is a scriptural injunction. How they behave, how they talk, how they walk, how they deal with others. That itself makes rules, regulation for other conditions also. You know? So etiquettes, Vaishnava etiquettes, these all are behavioral devotees, how they behave, how they act. You know. So same way, Vidura just came here not to enjoy the opulence of Maharaj Yudhishthir's royal facilities, but he just came there to deliver Dhritarashtra. अबिभ्रंदर्यमादंड यथावत् कायिषु यावद्धार श्रुतत्वं श्रापाद्वर्ष शतं यम. As long as Vidura played the part of Shudra, being cursed by Manduk Muni, Arima officiated at the post of Yamaraj to punish those who committed sinful acts. Okay, this story yesterday I told you. So in his place, Arima was looking after the proceedings of uh, the court of Yamaraj. So he was second in charge. Yudhishthiro labdhrajo drashta potram kulam dharam patrubhilokapalebhi mumade parayashriya. Having won his kingdom and observed the birth of one grandson, competent to continue the noble tradition of his family, Maharaj Yudhishthir reigned peacefully for and enjoyed uncommon opulence in cooperation with his younger brothers, who were all expert administrators to the common people. पढ़ो.
मुझे एक डाउट था.
हाँ.
वो जो लास्ट परपट है ना, उसमें लिखा है द अदर इज दैट विदुरा वाज नॉट एक्चुअली अ शूद्रा. ही वाज टू प्ले द पार्ट ऑफ सो कॉल्ड शूद्रा फॉर 100 years. ये मैंने जब पहले पढ़ा था तो मैंने क्वेश्चन मार्क लगाया. मेरा डाउट, पुराना डाउट है ये. तो मतलब वो 100 साल के लिए आए थे, बट हमको पता है कि इवन कृष्ण भी 125 years रह के गए यार. वो मतलब भगवान विद्रोह के बाद में आए थे और विद्रोह के पहले चले गए. और तो मतलब 100 साल कम नहीं लिखा है.
Actually, standard answer for this is, what is standard answer?
Inconceivable potency of the Lord.
It's a kalpa bhed, and some other kalpa he got some other curses. This is going on and on. These things are repeated.
Same.
So now, which reference where it is given, up to it. So our intention is to read scriptures to make our faith strong. Okay, now.
And
So even if one thread we get, which can keep us connected to Krishna, that we should hold. And other conflicts and all, that we can just give a benefit of doubt. Because our study is not so vast also, and we cannot reconcile it. Then we should not lose our faith in the process of, we should not get more doubts, and it should not eat us up. Okay, no, this is not able to solve it. So something is getting proved, that has to get focused. So here, what is Sutta Goswami, Shukdev Goswami's purpose is to speak Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. It has some purpose, no? So that purpose we have to align. What is the purpose?
For the spiritual upliftment of all the sages.
And
Yajna they are doing now to complete their
main is that
enlightenment.
the main audience is
So
the main candidate is
Shaunak Rishi and all those.
no, I am telling you about Shukdev Goswami.
So the Parishad Maharaj for
Uh-huh.
the deliverance of Parishad Maharaj.
So he should reach to the abode of Lord.
Hmm.
So that is the main thing. So we should also capture that mood and stick to it. Otherwise, the peripheral things will attract us so much that we will lose the main theme, and we'll doubt on main theme only.
Hmm.
So the purpose will get to convince us, Lord has to make his dear devotee disappear from this planet within 7 days. Why these people are dying and coming are the condition.
No.
So they are dying and coming, they're living, they're going through suffering like Yudhishthira Maharaj, Kunti Maharani. These all people are suffering to benefit us. Like Prabhupada got heart attack, or he went through such a terrible things. So why devotees are going all those situations to benefit us? So we should take the call of theirs, what the message they wanted to hand over to us. That if we take, then they will feel satisfied. Their purpose will be accomplished. So that way we should, like sometimes a brahmachari, he was driving on bike to Lonavala for picnic with his friend. So some truck came, and suddenly their bike got slipped, and truck went over on the head of that boy, his friend, and immediately he saw that he came back to he became brahmachari by seeing that incident. So what I want to tell you, that he became brahmachari because somebody else died. That gave him conviction that life is so futile, that anytime, any moment it can be finished. And immediately that renunciation developed in his heart. And he is inside ashram. And whenever his mind gets disturbed, whenever he wants to leave ashram, then he remembers that incident. Somebody died for me to keep me inside. And he remains inside. So like that, we should take all these people who have gone through so many difficulties to increase our conviction. So that way one should learn the scriptures. Now I will not, I may not be aware of where it is from, what it is from. That we have to, whoever is knowledgeable, he can tell you. But in general, till that time, we'll get the answer. Answer will be there, but we may not know at this moment. We should have faith that I will get the answer. And surely Krishna will arrange the answer if we are, sincere enough. So that is my humble understanding. If you're okay, it's okay. Huh? Otherwise, matter is something is very serious getting discussed, like, and we are stuck up in some, tiny, small things. Then we'll miss, So the main course we have to relish. चटनी नहीं आया, ठीक है चलेगा, तो सॉल्ट नहीं दिया, ठीक, गुलाब जामुन तो मिला है ना, उसको खा लो, be get be happy with it, huh? But I'm telling you, it's my ignorance. I don't deny that I don't know the answer, but if somebody can give, it's great. You can ask somebody who can clarify this, but I don't have capacity, so please tolerate with my inability. Every bird has its own power to fly, a butterfly can one float on the, but eagle can cross ocean also. If crow imitates eagle, it will go half the ocean, and in between he will be exhausted. There's no power. Then he decides, I will return, but he cannot return also. Then he will have jal samadhi, nothing else. So these all Mahabhagavats are, they are like Timingala fish, big who are relishing the nectar. So we just, their droplets are only so exhaustive for us. So real ocean to we cannot imagine. ठीक है? You can ask somebody later. Keep that question.
But both Maharaj Yudhishthir and Arjun were unhappy from the beginning of Battle of Kurukshetra. But even though they were unwilling to kill their own men in the fight, it had to be done as a matter of duty, for it was planned by the supreme will of Lord Shri Krishna. After the battle, Maharaj Yudhishthira
Time
was
is less.
unhappy over such mass killings. Practically, there was none to continue the Kuru dynasty after them. The Pandavas, the only remaining hope, was a child in the womb of his daughter-in-law Uttara, and he was also attacked by Ashwathama. But by the grace of the Lord, the child was saved. So, after the settlement of all disturbing conditions and re-establishment of the peaceful order of the state, and after seeing the surviving child, Parikshit, well satisfied, Maharaj Yudhishthir felt some relief as a human being, although he had a very little attraction for material happiness, which is always illusory and temporary.
एवं गृहेषु सक्तानां प्रमत्तानां तदीहया अत्यक्रामद्विज्ञात काल परम दुस्तर. Insurmountable eternal time imperceptibly overcomes those who are too much attached to family affairs and are always engrossed in their thought.
I am now happy. I have everything in order. My bank balance is quite enough. I can now give my children enough estates. I am now successful. The poor beggar sannyasis depend on the God. But they come to beg from me. Therefore, I am more than the Supreme Lord. These are some of the thoughts which engross the insanely attached householder who is blind to the passing of eternal time. Our duration of life is measured, and no one is able to enhance it even by a second against the scheduled time ordained by the Supreme Will. Such valuable time, especially for the human beings, should be cautiously spent because even a second passed away imperfectibility cannot be replaced. Even in exchange for thousands of golden coins, amassed by the hard labor, every second of human life is meant for making an ultimate solution to the problem of life. That is the repetition of birth, death, and revolving the cycle of 84 millions of different species of life. The material body, which is subject to birth and death, disease, and old age, is caused all suffering of living beings. Otherwise, the living beings is eternal. He is never born, nor does ever die. Foolish person forget this problem. They do not know at all how to solve the problem of life, but become engrossed in temporary family affairs, not knowing that eternal time is passing away imperceptibly, and that their measured duration of life is diminishing every second without any solution to the big problem, namely repetition of birth and death, disease, old age. This is called illusion. But such illusion cannot work on one who is awake in the devotional service of Lord. Vishnu Maharaj and his brothers Pandavas are all engaged in the service of Lord Sri Krishna, and they had very little attraction for the illusionary happiness of this material world. As we have discussed previously, Maharaj Yudhishthir was fixed in the service of Lord Mukunda, the Lord who can await salvation, and therefore he had no attraction even for such a comfort of life as are available in the kingdom of heaven, because even the happiness obtained on the planet Brahmaloka is also temporary and illusionary. Because the living beings is eternal, he can be happy only in the eternal abode of kingdom of God, from which no one returned to this region of repetition, birth and death, disease and old age. Therefore, any comfort of life or any material happiness which does not warrant any eternal life is a built illusion for the eternal living beings. One who is factually understand this is learned, and such a learned person can sacrifice any amount of material happiness to achieve the desired goal known as Brahma Sukham and absolute happiness. Real transcendentalists are hungry for this happiness, and as a hungry man cannot be made happy by all comforts of life minus foodstuff. So the man hungry for eternal absolute happiness cannot be satisfied by any amount of material happiness. Therefore, the instruction described in this verse cannot be applied to Maharaj Yudhishthir or his brothers and mothers. It was meant for the person like Dhritarashtra, for whom Vidura came especially to impart lessons.
So for devotees, time is death. You know, it's always there dying. But for devotees, the time is exit gateway, gate actually. So devotees will be happy when death comes. But materialistic people will be miserable when death comes. Like somebody is earned 200 crore rupees. How much pain he will have when death comes? But devotee will not have any pain when he is dying. Because he never had any attachment, whatever he possessed. Or to speak about his, other things. He is not attached to his own body. Then forget about any other things. Many times people are attached to their bodies and they are attached to their own bodily related people. And sometimes their attachment is extends to their, relatives or their caste people, this samaj, that samaj. And then language, on language also they fight. We are North Indian, South Indian. Then on nation, they will fight. And after nation, planet fight, they don't know, so they are not fighting for it. They're have to stop till nations only, So like that, it goes on. The attachment is not just limited to your, subtle body, gross body, but you have attachment to the entire planet. And you think that I am the one who is controller of this planet. And I must work for it. So this is their deep ignorance, and which makes them implicated. But for Vaishnava, he is released from all these attachments. He is like a coconut within a shell. That much he is released. So Vaishnava is not attached to even subtle body. He doesn't have that symptom of not attached to subtle body is what? What is symptom? If somebody is not attached to subtle body. Hmm? He will not have false ego. What is settled body? Mind, false ego, and intelligence. So one is not attached to any of these things. We may sometimes tolerate physical pain, but if somebody touches our false ego, that nobody can understand also, first of all, that where the scar has is, it is there with us only. We may laugh with the devotee, but we remember what did he said me in 10 years before. Sometimes we wait for the right time to repay him back. Then we take the revenge and all that. It all comes very ugly way, because we are attached to the false ego, the body of false ego. So we have to give up that, attachment to the false ego also. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells, Naham Varni Nacha Grahaprati Na Vanustetirva Kintu Prodhan Nikhila Paramanande Gopir Bhartur Padakulur Das Das Anugas. So this identity we don't awaken till that time will be attached to our Varna and Ashram or our physical abilities. So these things will keep us caught up. And all those things are they are like chains on conditions. So here Vidura has come to deliver this Dhritarashtra not only from the house but from this identity, that he has not understood, developed detachment even after his 100 sons got killed. So how much deep he was engrossed. So that was very much, paining to Vidura. So he came to deliver Dhritarashtra for that reason. Vidurastad vipretya Dhritarashtram abhashata Rajanirgamata Shigram Pashedam Bhayamagatam. Mahatma Vidura knew all this, and therefore he addressed Dhritarashtra, saying, My dear king, please get out of here immediately. Do not delay. Just see how fear has overtaken you.
Cruel death cares for no one, be he Dhritarashtra, even Maharaj Yudhishthir. Therefore, spiritual instruction as was given to old Dhritarashtra was equally applicable to younger Maharaj Yudhishthir. As a matter of fact, everyone in the royal palace, including the king and his brother and mother, was raptly attending the lectures. But it was known to Vidura that his instructions were especially meant for Dhritarashtra, who was too materialistic. The word Rajan is especially addressed to Dhritarashtra significantly. Dhritarashtra was the oldest son of his father, and therefore, according to law, he was to be installed on the throne of Hastinapur. But because he was blind from birth, he was disqualified from his rightful claim. But he could not forget the bereavement, and his disappointment was somewhat compassionate after his death of Pandu, his younger brother. His younger brother left behind him some minor children, and Dhritarashtra became the natural guardian of them. But at the heart, he wanted to become the factual king and hand the kingdom over his own son, headed by the Duryodhana. With all this imperial ambition, Dhritarashtra wanted to become a king, and he contrived all sort of intrigues in consultation with his brother-in-law Sakuni. But everything failed by the will of Lord. And at the last stage, even after losing everything, men and money, he wanted to remain as a king. Being the oldest uncle of Maharaj Yudhishthir, Maharaj Yudhishthir, as a matter of duty, maintained Dhritarashtra in royal honor, and Dhritarashtra was happily passing away his number of days in the illusion of being a king or the royal uncle of King Yudhishthir. Vidur, as a saint and as the duty-bound, affectionate younger brother of Dhritarashtra, wanted to awaken Dhritarashtra from his slumber of being a false king, driven to disease and old age by the force of powerful time. Vidura therefore sarcastically addressed Dhritarashtra as a king, which he was actually not. Everyone is a servant of eternal time, and therefore no one can be king in this material world. King means the person who can order. The celebrated English king wanted to order time and tide, but time and tide refused to obey his order. Therefore, one is a false king in the material world, and Dhritarashtra was particularly reminded of this false position and of the factual fearful happening which had already approached him at the time. Pedro asked him to get out immediately if he wanted to be saved from the fearful situation which was approaching him. In fact, he did not ask Maharaj Yudhishthir in that way because he knew that a king like Maharaj Yudhishthir is aware of this all fearful situation of this film's world and would take care of himself in due course, even the Vidura might not be present at that time.
So time, which devotees look at and what materialistic people look at, is totally different. So time makes us humble actually. For materialistic people, time makes them very proud. Their identification, they feel they are eternal. I have become king now, and I will remain king forever. And that's why they feel anybody I can offend. Or suppose they are subordinate, then they wait for a right time to become master. And that way, they will appear very patient, all that, but they are just waiting for next person to disappear. So that is their way of taking time, looking at time. But devotees see time, that how perishable this world is. Even so many people claim themselves as a king. They said, this land is mine. That land is yours. But land says, both of you are mine only. Within that own lifetime, they are buried in that same land which were they claiming that I am owner. Sometimes grandparents says to children, see, till that horizon is my land. But how long it will last? The horizon will remain, the land will remain, but the one who is claiming, he will not be there. Such a futile this world is, So we should not be in this impression that I am possessing this, I have that, I have this, I need that, I will achieve that. So that mentality will not be there in the life of a devotee. He will see the time is running away, slipping from my hands. If I don't use for Krishna, then this time is misutilized. So every moment they want to offer it to Krishna. And that is a quality of pure devotee. Avyartha qualitva. That is one quality of pure devotee. They will not waste a single moment. So materialistic people will not waste single moment claiming I am king, I am this, I am that. But devotee keeps every moment the identity that I am servant of Krishna intact. So nothing enters in his head. Even somebody makes him king, somebody makes him HOD, or somebody makes him whatever position they give. It will not go in our head. You know? We will take these opportunities as a service. Whether you make a king of whole universe or you make a ant on the street, my service is to remember you, to serve you, Krishna. So that's why devotees will not get caught up in the vicious cycle of worldly positions. So our position is fixed, that I am Nitya Das. We are not Anitya Das. We are Nitya Das, Krishna's eternal servant. So this identity nobody is going to take up. So that has to be awakened. Here Dhritarashtra, he is not remembering what he has done to Pandavas. They disrobed, Draupadi. Although Dhritarashtra was blind, he might have not seen what is happening. But it was under his permission only. So you have done such a ghastly treatment to your, fellow, nephews, and still you are staying with them. It's how he crossed all, level of shame. He forgot as if he has not done only. That something such a, he wanted to kill them, poison them, or burn them live. Such a ghastly things he has done, but he is shameless. So there is one nice verse comes in this chapter of Kamsa, when he was pulling the hairs of Devaki. So there is one verse is there. What heinous person don't fear to do, which saintly people they fear to do. है ये? सर्च करो, पता है, आप सर्च करो, दुष्केरेन. So he gives very nice, that verse is very nice. What a cruel person is not shameful to do. So that applies to Dhritarashtra, that he should have left actually. When your 100 sons are died, why you are staying? Means you don't mind your sons are dying. Whether from anywhere you get kingdom, king you become by killing your 10th canto नहीं हो, 10th में सर्च करो, evil. नहीं heinous नहीं, evil. दुष्करे ना, दुष्कर लिखा, दुष्कर्म देखो. ठीक है, वो चैप्टर दो निकालो, उसमें ही है. वेयर द आकाशवाणी हैपेंस ना, नहीं ऊपर ही, द बर्थ के पहले. ये किधर है? देवकी को लेके जा रहे होते वो. इधर ही है क्या? ठीक है, आप लोग सर्च कर लो बाद में, अच्छा वर्स है। So the meaning is that saintly people, even small wrong thing, uh, they feel very much big scare there. They fear big. But those who are cruel people, even to do big sin, they have no shame. Shame, देखो shame. ठीक है, I tomorrow will show that verse. Okay, next. जरा फास्ट पढ़ो, कौन पढ़ने वाले? हाँ, रीड फर्स्ट. हो गया क्या? नेक्स्ट वर्स. वर्स. I have to read verse. Which verse? Huh? 19. प्रतिक्रियान यस्यः कुतश्चित् कर्हिचित् प्रभो स एष भगवान् काल सर्वेषां न समागत. This frightful situation cannot be remedied by any person in this material world, my Lord. It is the Supreme Personality of Godhead as eternal time, Kala, that has approached us all.
Purport. There is no superior power which can check the cruel hands of death. No one wants to die, however acute the source of bodily sufferings may be. Even in the days of so-called scientific advancement of knowledge, there is no remedial measure either for old age or for death. Old age is the notice of the arrival of death served by cruel time, and no one can refuse to accept either summon calls or the supreme judgment of eternal time. This is explained before Dhritarashtra because he might ask Vidura to find out some remedial measure for the imminent fearful situation, as he had ordered many times before. Before ordering, however, Vidura informed Dhritarashtra that there was no remedial measure by anyone or from any source in the material world. And because there is no such thing in the material world, death is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as it is said by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, 34th verse. Death cannot be checked by anyone or from any source within this material world. Hiranyakashipu wanted to be immortal and underwent a severe type of penance by which the whole universe trembled, and Brahma himself approached him to dissuade Hiranyakashipu from such a severe type of penance. Hiranyakashipu asked Brahma to award him the blessings of immortality, but Brahma said that he himself was subject to death, even in the topmost planet. So how could he award him the benediction of immortality? So there is death even in the topmost planet of this universe, and what to speak of other planets, which are far, far inferior in quality to Brahmaloka, the residing planet of Brahma. Wherever there is the influence of eternal time, there is this set of tribulations, namely birth, death, birth, disease, old age, and death, and all of them are invincible.
So spiritual life means we prepare for death. And material life, what do? They want to avoid it. They are not preparing. You go outside, is there any department which is preparing for death? Only they have Vaikuntha Smashan Bhumi, and then is Kabrastan, then there is some crematorium. Or this, what Parsi people do, they throw the body to sky. But there is nobody is preparing for death. Even sometimes the responsibility of preparing for death is given to us. Society thinks that sadhus are preparing. But we are also not ready for it. We are admitted in the school where preparation for death is taught. There also we are so relaxed. Then outside people to forget only. Where there is Sarasbag, where there is all these theaters are there. How can they will remember death? No. Even in hospital, doctors are looking at the patient who are dying, but still they are in the laboratory of death. They are in the machine of death, but still they feel I will not die. For that matter, even in a crematorium, the person who is every day putting piling up the that funeral pyre, he also will not be touched by the thought of I will die one day. So this covering of my so so heavy that hardly anybody can penetrate. If we know that death is there, then we will be most humble person on planet Earth. Our ego cannot get crushed only because we know I will die. Then what is point in fighting with carrying ill thoughts about others and all that? You will just learn to forgive and tolerate. They will not even retaliate. That is the quality of people who have understood that death is there. Otherwise, if somebody is not realize, time is coming, or time is coming, and death gives many notices. Our hairs, they fall, they become white, we lose appetite, we have to, our prasadam quantity is reducing and medicine quantity is increasing. So that all should remind us, that destination is coming, like, from here to Bombay are going. Then it comes, no? Nigadi comes, then Lonavala comes, then Thane comes, then Dadar comes. The next station is CST. So till Dadar also people think that I will be alive. Even Bombay comes, CST comes, they feel, oh, time is there. The train is at the signal. The platform just will come in 5 minutes. But still people will not feel that I will die. So that is a conviction of this material body and consciousness. So he wanted to eradicate that, Vidura. So that's what he's telling him. This frightful situation cannot be remedied by any person in this material. Even the best doctors cannot give a remedy to it. So what is the remedy? And who has that remedy? So remedy is what? Ayurharti Vaipumsan Uddannastan Janniso Esyartha Kalo Uttam Shloka Vartha. So those who are busy in Uttam Shlok Vartha, they only can conquer the death. Rest, no one can conquer. Ena chaivavi parannoyam prane priyatame prapi jana satyo yujeta kimutatena dhanadivi. Whoever is under the influence of supreme Kal, eternal time, must surrender his most dear life, and what to speak of other things, such as wealth, honor, children, land, and home.
Purport. A great Indian scientist, busy in the plan-making business, was suddenly called by invincible eternal time while going to attend a very important meeting of the planning commission, and he had to surrender his life, wife, children, house, land, wealth, etc. During the political upsurge in India and its division into Pakistan and Hindustan, so many rich and influential Indians had to surrender life, property, and honor due to the influence of time. And there are hundreds and thousands of examples like that all over the world, all over the universe, which are all effects of the influence of time. Therefore, the conclusion is that there is no powerful living being within the universe who can overcome the influence of time. Many poets have written verses lamenting the influence of time. Many devastations have taken place over the universes due to the influence of time, and no one could check them by any means. Even in our daily life, so many things come and go in which we have no hand, but we have to suffer or tolerate them without remedial measure. That is the result of time.
So time doesn't wait for anybody. You cannot tell time, I'm king. You cannot tell time that I'm engineer. You cannot tell anything to time. When it comes, it takes away. But pure devotees, they step on time. Like Dhruva Maharaj, he could conquer the time. So we should follow such a great souls who have successfully lived their life and achieved the word of Lord. So they should be our hero. Like everybody puts photograph of hero. If you go to any boy's room, depending upon their tendencies, they will have their icons, which they will put in their room. Somebody is for physical, then they'll put photo of Michael Jackson. Michael? Mike Tyson. That his photo they'll put. Or somebody is a cricketer, they'll put some other hero's photo. So we have our heroes. So Goswami is our hero for renounced loss. They should be our heroes. So they conquered the time, So if we make them heroes of our life, then we can also follow them and conquer this time. Pitrubhadru sruhat putra hastaste vigatam vayam atma chajarya grastam parageham upasase. Your father, brother, well-wishers, and sons are all dead and passed away. You yourself have extended the major portion of your life. Your body is now overtaken by invalidity, and you are living in the home of another.
Report. The king is reminded of his precarious condition influenced by cruel time, and by his past experience, he should have been more intelligent to see what was going to happen to his own life. His father, Vichitravirya, died long ago when he and his younger brothers were all little children, and it was due to the care of kindness of Bhishma Dev that they were properly brought up. Then again, his brother Pandu died also. Then, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, his 100 sons and his grandsons all died, along with all other well-wishers like Bhishmadev, Dronacharya, Karna, and many other kings and friends. So he had lost all men and money, and now he was living at the mercy of his nephew, whom he had put into troubles of various types. And despite all these reverses, he thought that he would prolong his life more and more. Vidura wanted to point out to Dhritarashtra that everyone has to protect himself by his action and the grace of the Lord. One has to execute his duty faithfully, depending for the result on the supreme authority. No friend, no children, no father, no brother, no state, and no one else can protect the person who is not protected by the Supreme Lord. One should therefore seek the protection of the Supreme Lord, for the human form of life is meant for seeking that protection. He was warned of his precarious conditions more and more by the following words.
So all in this world, people are bound by the wheel of time. So they cannot free us. So if somebody wants to free others, he should be free. If his hands only tied, then how can he free somebody else? They cannot free. Who can show the path? Who has eyes? If somebody is blind himself, he cannot show path to others. But people are so confident that they become leader and they want to show path to others. And people are so blind to follow that blind leader, and they all will lead to a ditch. No, nobody will get to success. But devotees are freed, because Mukunda, the Lord who delivers, he is their master. And such a master shelter, if we take, and such a devotees who are taking shelter of that Mukunda, then only we can be delivered. Otherwise, having hope from a drowning man that he will save me, then what will happen? He also doesn't know swimming. You also don't know swimming. You catch each other and drown fast. So we should hold to such a person who is an expert swimmer. We should take shelter of that person. And we should also dare to save others depending upon our strength. Otherwise, we say that I will save others. You don't know yourself swimming and you go with such a brave heart. I'll save others. Before saving others, you are only looped, lost. So we should understand our strength. We should not overestimate ourselves and try to, like Nanda, Nitan Prabhu can go to brothel. We cannot go. If we will go, we will not come back. He can go and he can make devotees there. If we go in a hostel, college, there if we make devotees, that is a great success. We should not dare to. There also we have difficulty. And then forget about that kind of place. So we should see our capacity. And whenever we feel that I am weak, we should not try to feel like I am Vidura, I'll delete Dhritarashtra. But surprisingly, many times we are only Dhritarashtra. We are only blind with our reality. So we should check ourselves and take accordingly steps. So here, Vidura is practically coming very heavy on Dhritarashtra because his covering is very tight. It cannot be chiseled with small hammer. It requires a big hammer. So that's why these instructions are coming to Vaishnavas are Kusmadapi Komalam, Vajradapi Kothar. If it helps others. Aho mahiyasi jantor jivitasha yatha bhayan bhimabhavajitam bindam. 20 seconds. Andhapureva vadiro mandapratnya cha samratam vishirna danto mandagni saraga kafamutvahan. You have been blind from your very birth, and recently you have become hard of hearing. Your memory is shortened, and your intelligence is disturbed. Your teeth are loose, your liver is defective, and you are coughing up mucus.
The symptoms of old age, which had already developed in Dhritarashtra, were all one after another pointed out to him as warning that death was nearing very quickly, and still he was foolish, carefree about his future. The signs pointed out by Vidura in the body of Dhritarashtra were signs of apakshaya, or dwindling of the material body before the last stroke of death. The body is born, it develops, stays, creates other bodies, dwindles, and then vanishes. But foolish men want to make a permanent settlement of the perishable body and think that their estate, children, society, country, etc., will give them protection. With such foolish ideas, they become overtaken by such temporary engagements and forget altogether that they must give up this temporary body and take a new one, again to arrange for another term of society, friendship, and love, again to perish ultimately. They forget their permanent identity and become foolishly active for impermanent occupations, forgetting altogether the prime duty. Saints and sages like Vidura approach such foolish men to awaken them to the real situation. But they take such sadhus and saints as parasites of society, and almost all of them refuse to hear the words of such sadhus and saints, although they welcome show bottle sadhus and so called saints who can satisfy their senses. Vidura was not a sadhu to satisfy the ill gotten sentiment of Dhritarashtra. He was correctly pointing out the real situation of life and how one can save oneself from such catastrophes.
So these all symptoms come one after another, before death. But nowadays these symptoms are not coming because people are killing the baby in the womb only. They are not allowing him to come out only. They are killing inside the womb only. We are very fortunate. We are out, But there are so many people are getting killed in the womb, in modern times. Nobody, we cannot imagine, because people are enjoying. Extra they are enjoying. At least people previously enjoying, they had 10, 12 children. That is what they enjoyed. And they were responsible for that enjoyment. But now people are enjoying, but they are not taking responsibility. The most compassionate heart supposed to be of mother. And the modern civilization has made them only the witch who can kill the baby. Then forget about, how she will love and how it will take place. How the definitions have changed of the civilization. Old people, they don't want babies also, they don't want old people also. Then what do they want in life? And they forget that they are not going to remain chubby whole life. One day they also will have to face this. So that responsibility they are not taking. And such a person is very difficult to turn towards spirituality. He will try every situation to gratify his senses. That's only business he has. Morning till night, eating, mating, sleeping, defending. This is what only they're busy with. So such a people cannot be awakened to this reality. Even though body is collapsing, they'll put all patches to that body. Sometimes whole tube is changed, but still they want to remain in the that particular body. So sometimes people donate their organs. So if that organ is donated to Vaishnava, then that person will get some sukriti. But if you donate organ to somebody who is gratifying his senses, then this person already died. He had his own karma. And now you landed your organ to some other person. And he is doing some other sins because of your help. Then you will get his additional credit in your account. If that part comes to Vaishnava, then it's glorious. His death is like he will get some sukruti. But nobody is there to do that. So that way, you even after getting so many signals, people are not becoming serious. Sometimes a doctor who is asked patient that don't smoke, it will get cancer, you will get cancer. But they themselves are chain smokers. So their education also is not helping. So we should not be that kind of doctor. We know everything. We say so many people that you are not body or soul. But we ourselves so many times fail to show the symptoms of I am not body, I am spirit soul. So it's practice one has to take. So here he is telling that your teeth are fallen, your stomach is not upset, your coughing, mucus. अहो मय्यसि जन्तुर्जीविताशयता भवान् भीमापवर्जितं पिण्डम् आदत्ते गृहपालवत्. Alas, how powerful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life. Verily, you are living just like a household dog and are eating the remnants of food given by Bhim.
A sadhu should never flatter kings or rich men to live comfortably at their cost. A sadhu is to speak to the householders about the naked truth of life so that they may come to their senses about the precarious life in material existence. Dhritarashtra is a typical example of an attached old man in household life. He had become a pauper in the true sense, yet he wanted to live comfortably in the house of the Pandavas, of whom Bhima especially is mentioned, because personally he killed two prominent sons of Dhritarashtra, namely Duryodhana and Dushyasana. These two sons were very much dear to him for their notorious and nefarious activities, and Bhima is particularly pointed out because he killed these two pet sons. Why was Dhritarashtra living there at the house of the Pandavas? Because he wanted to continue his life comfortably, even at the risk of all humiliation. Vidura therefore was astonished how powerful is the urge to continue life. This sense of continuing one's life indicates that a living being is eternally a living entity and does not want to change his bodily habitation. The foolish man does not know that a particular term of bodily existence is awarded to him to undergo a term of imprisonment, and the human body is awarded after many, many births and deaths as a chance for self realization to go back home, back to Godhead. But persons like Dhritarashtra try to make plans to live there in a comfortable position with profit and interest, for they do not see things as they are. Dhritarashtra is blind and continues to hope to live comfortably in the midst of all kinds of reverses of life. A sadhu like Vidura is meant to awaken such blind persons and thus help them back to Godhead, where life is eternal. Once going there, no one wants to come back to this material world of miseries. We can just imagine how responsible a task is entrusted to a sadhu like Mahatma Vidura.
So materialistic people has no option in their life. So whatever pain comes, they manage and they are hopeful to live with it. Or sometimes they don't know what to do with it. Like suppose that 9/11, the building is collapsing. People are coming out from the building and crying, but they don't know on whose shoulder they should lean on. They don't have a shoulder to lean on. In such a difficult time, they have no fault, nothing. Why this is happening to them? They don't know at all. And they don't know, they are crying loudly, but they don't know whose shelter they should take. But we are so fortunate. In our life, Lord is there. We know we can take shelter of Him. So what is the real good? If we take shelter before calamity comes. That is like advanced stage. At least second class is you get difficulties, you take shelter. But third class will be even after getting difficulties, we are busy with the difficulties only. and we keep Krishna as backup plan. Let me try, my dear Lord. You know, and in that trying, we'll get caught up so badly that the Lord will remain so far that we will not able to access. So the better will be that we remain always in with the side of Lord. So that is devotee's way of living. So here he compared him like a dog. You are living at the mercy of Bhim, whom you wanted to kill. Not only you wanted to kill, he killed your own two children, your two beloved children. Still you are eating from by his hands. So that he reminded him. So can you imagine Dhritarashtra eating from Bhima's hand? That means how much Bhima might have loved him. They offered him such a way that they made him forget that he lost his own children. That hospitality level, we cannot imagine it. They didn't. They conducted themselves so well that even Dhritarashtra felt, I should continue living in their house. Although whole life Dhritarashtra was sending them out of the palace, he was not giving them shelter. So that was conduct of Dhritarashtra. And now Yudhishthira Maharaj and Bhim, they conducted so well. Dhritarashtra, even after doing so many heinous things, he is still living with them. So now Vidura is reminding him what you are doing. Awaken now. That you remember you had a plan to kill Bhima. Bhima has killed your son. You are eating with his hand. What is life? You are living like a dog. That way he reminded him. Agni nishrishta dastasya garodara sidushita ratam kshetram dhanam yesham tatter subhi kriyat. There is no need to live a degraded life and subsist on the charity of those whom you tried to kill by arrows and poisoning. You also insulted one of their wives and usurped their kingdom and wealth.
The system of Varnashram religion sets aside a part of one's life completely for the purpose of self-realization and attainment of salvation in the human form of life. That is the routine division of life. But persons like Dhritarashtra, even at their very ripened age, want to stay home, even in a degraded condition of accepting charity from enemies. Vidura wanted to point this out and impressed upon him that it was better to die like his sons than accept such humiliating charity. 5,000 years ago, there was one Dhritarashtra, but at the present moment, there are Dhritarashtras in every home. Politicians, especially, do not retire from political activities unless they are degraded by cruel death, dragged by the cruel hand of death, or killed by some opposing element. To stick to family life at the end of one's human life is the grossest type of degradation, and there is an absolute need for the Viduras to educate such Dhritarashtras even at the present moment.
Okay. So life will decide whether we are Dhritarashtra or Vidur. So we cannot be both, and we cannot be none. Either we will be side of Dhritarashtra or will be on the side of Vidura. So how we spend our life, and that will decide our destination. Like people give excuse that bhakti should be practiced when we get old. But what old people are doing, we all know. So you cannot keep bhakti for old age. When we should offer flower? If somebody loves some person, when will offer the flower to that person? When it is dwindled, when it lost fragrance, or that is the moment to offer. So the flower has to be offered when it is fresh. So if we learn Krishna consciousness in our youth, then there is a hope that in old age you can remember Krishna. तस्यापि तव देहोऽयं कृपणस्य जिजीविषो परित्यच्छिन्न निश्चितो जीर्णो जर्यावाससीव. Despite your unwillingness to die and your desire to live, even at the cost of honor and prestige, your miserly body will certainly dwindle and deteriorate like an old garment.
The words Kripanasya jijivisho are significant. There are two classes of men. One is called the Kripana and the other is called the Brahmana. The Kripana or the miserly man has no estimation of his material body, but the Brahmana has a true estimation of himself and the material body. The Kripana, having a wrong estimation of his material body, wants to enjoy sense gratification with his utmost strength, and even in old age he wants to become a young man by medical treatment or otherwise. Dhritarashtra is addressed herein as a Kripana because without any estimation of his material body, he wants to live at any cost. Vidura is trying to open his eyes to see that he cannot live more than his term and that he must prepare for death. Since death is inevitable, why should he accept such a humiliating position for living? It is better to take the right path, even at the risk of death. Human life is meant for finishing all kinds of miseries of material existence, and life should be so regulated that one can achieve the desired goal. Dhritarashtra, due to his wrong conception of life, had already spoiled 80% of his achieved energy, so it behooved him to utilize the remaining days in his miserly life for the ultimate good. Such a life is called miserly because one cannot properly utilize the assets of human form of life. Only by good luck does such a miserly man meet a self-realized soul like Vidura and by his instruction gets rid of the nescience of material existence.
Okay. So we should not be miser to give our body to Krishna. The more we give our body to Krishna, the best utilization happens of our body. So all temples, they used to put the tortoise while entering in temple. So that indicates that you open all your senses. Now you are with Krishna. But what exactly people do when they come inside temple? They close their eyes, they close their ears, they go to sleep. And then can you imagine movie theater? Night show it is, and the theater is full dark. But all people are awake. You never find in theater people is sleeping, dozing. Huh? Anybody has seen? Yes. Those who have gone early. But morning 9 o'clock, day light, all lights are flooded. In Bhagavatam class, suppose, or Japa time, suppose, Brahma Murta, already we had 6 hours rest. Light is on, everything is on. But we are in different world. So can it shows that where our senses are reciprocating and where they are going to land us. If our praja is like that, And then what is the Raja's situation? So our senses, if they are not cooperating for Krishna's service, then they are our best enemies actually. And the boss of all these people is our mind. So mind is friend or enemy. It will show the performance. By performance, we can understand. If mind is friend, what that person's activities is described by the verse of Ambarish Maharaj. Savay mana Krishna padar vindiyor vamsansi vaikunta gunanava. If mind is Krishna's friend, then that person's speech is Vaikunta Gunanava. That speech is always decorated with the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Next is what? Vansasi Gunanava. So there's all processes take place. And we see in proper levels. Their mind is absorbed in Krishna's thoughts. So you can see, they spoke always about Krishna. They traveled for Krishna's sake. Their whole existence was for nothing other than service to Krishna. So that is Krishna Bhavana Bhavit Mati, that person's mind, whose mind is absorbed in Krishna, their bodily activities, everything will be Krishna conscious. So that kind of a person we should try to become. And that will not be possible for a person who is miserly. So we should not become miser when it comes to serve Lord. Katasvartam yam deham virakto mukta bandhana avidnyata gatir jarhat savay dhira udarta. He is called undisturbed who goes to an unknown remote place and, freed from all obligations, quits his material body when it has become useless.
Narottam Das Thakur, a great devotee and acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnava sect, has sung, "My Lord, I have simply wasted my life. Having obtained the human body, I have neglected to worship your lordship, and therefore I have willingly drunk poison." In other words, the human body is especially meant for cultivating knowledge of devotional service to the Lord, without which life becomes full of anxieties and miserable condition. Therefore, one who has spoiled his life without such cultural activities is advised to leave home without knowledge of friends and relatives, and being thus freed from all obligations of family, society, country, etc., give up the body at some unknown destination so that others may not know where and how he has met his death. Dhira means one who is not disturbed, even when there is sufficient provocation. One cannot give up a comfortable family life due to his affectionate relation with his wife and children. Self-realization is obstructed by such undue affection for family, and if anyone is at all able to forget such a relation, he is called undisturbed or dhira. This is, however, the path of renunciation based on a frustrated life, but stabilization of such renunciation is possible only by association with bona fide saints and self-realized souls, by which one can be engaged in the loving devotional service of the Lord. Sincere surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is possible by awakening the transcendental sense of service. This is made possible by association with pure devotees of the Lord. Dhritarashtra was lucky enough to have a brother whose very association was a source of liberation for this frustrated life.
So here the quality of Dhira is mentioned. And Prabhupada is quoting Manusya Janama Bhaya Radha Krishna Bhajya Janiya Shuniya Vishwakhaini. Sa Yaswakat Parato Veha Jata Nirveda Atmavan Rudhi Kritva Harim Grehat Apragajist Narottamaha. He is certainly a first-class man who awakens and understands
either by himself or from others, the falsity and misery of this material world, and thus leaves home and depends fully on the personality of Godhead, residing within his heart.
There are three kinds of transcendentalists, namely the Dhira, or the one who is not disturbed by being away from family association. Two, one in the renounced order of life, a sannyasi by frustrated sentiment. And three, a sincere devotee of the Lord who awakens God consciousness by hearing and chanting and leaves home depending completely on the personality of Godhead who resides in his heart. The idea is that the renounced order of life, after a frustrated life of sentiment in the material world, may be the stepping stone on the path of self realization. But real perfection of the path of liberation is attained when one is practiced to depend fully on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who lives in everyone's heart as Paramatma. One may live in the darkest jungle alone out of home, but a steadfast devotee knows very well that he is not alone. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is within him, and he can protect his sincere devotee in any awkward circumstance. One should therefore practice devotional service at home, hearing and chanting the holy name, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, etc., in association with pure devotees, and this practice will help one awaken God consciousness in proportion to one's sincerity of purpose. One who desires material benefit by such devotional activities can never depend on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although he sits in everyone's heart. Nor does the Lord give any direction to persons who worship him for material gain. Such materialistic devotees may be blessed by the Lord with material benefits, but they cannot reach the stage of first class human being, as above mentioned. There are many examples of such sincere devotees in the history of the world, especially in India, and they are our guides on the path of self realization. Mahatma Vidura is one such great devotee of the Lord, and we should all try to follow in his lotus footsteps for self realization.
So during Mughals' time, there were some Muslims who became Muslims because they're beaten up very heavily, So that's why they accepted the Muslim religion. Some are born Muslims and they are made Muslims because of fear of getting beaten up. So there are some sadhus who are naturally sadhus, but some they become sadhus because of frustration. And as soon as their frustration gets over, then they leave the renounce order also. They renounce the renounce order also. So that kind of sadhu one should not become. So if we have become sadhus, we should try to achieve the destination. If we fall down, that's okay. But we should not prepare for falling down. If something comes by will of providence, then that's beyond our reach or beyond our control. But as long as we know everything, we should try to live with the conviction and stability. So we have taken advantage of renounce order. We are there in renounce order. Somehow our parents have allowed us to be in renounce order. So we should take advantage for the very purpose we are here. Purpose is not accomplished. Then again there will be next birth in a family of more difficult situation. You will be rich, you will be beautiful, you will be this, that. Already how much difficulties we've gone through, we know. And Lord will give such a family where we don't know how much difficulties it will be to renounce. So we don't know anything, how it will turn. But still, as long as with good intelligence, whatever we, by mercy of Krishna, whatever we have strength, we should apply. So if you are busy with Krishna conscious activities, then you will not understand also that what is opponent is. So Maya cannot allure if somebody is fully busy with Krishna. If we are not busy with Krishna, then we are only becoming target of Maya. She is trying to shoot somebody else. We run and go in front and show our chest. And then we say, oh, I died. So that kind of adventure we should not do. So we should try our best to maintain the purpose which we came for. So that is a first class man. अथोदिर्चिं दिशं यातुं स्वैरज्ञातगतिर्भवान् इतो वाक्प्रायश काल पुंसा गुण विकर्षण. Please therefore leave for the north immediately, without letting your relatives know, for soon that time will approach which will diminish the good qualities of man.
One can compensate for a life of frustration by becoming a dhira or leaving home for good without communicating with relatives. And Vidura advised his eldest brother to adopt this way without delay, because very quickly the age of Kali was approaching. The conditioned soul is already degraded by the material association, and still in the Kali Yuga, the good qualities of man will deteriorate to the lowest standard. He was advised to leave home before Kali Yuga approached, because atmosphere which was created by
अभी
Vidura.
लेंगे break. ठीक है हरिबोल, we'll have break. जिसको भी जाने जाके हो. ये खत्म नहीं होगा लग रहा है हरिबोल. अभी तो 29. What should I do now? We can skip the purports, no? But you people will read no purports. Huh? ठीक है अभी आ जाओ 3:45 को आ जाओ 3:45 सबके सामने हो रहा है एटलीस्ट अपने सामने तो हो रहा है आपको यू हैव कंपैशनेट हार्ट So I'll share this verse which I was telling you. This is from 10th Canto, chapter 1, text number 58. Spoken by Vasudev to Kamsa. Kim dussaham nu sadhunam vidusham kim apekshitam kim akaryam kadaryanam dustejam kim dhritatmana. So the translation, I hope somebody will understand this translation and explain. Pardon?
For saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth. How could there be, uh, how could there be, how could there not be independence for pure devotees who know the Supreme Lord as the substance? What deeds are forbidden for persons of the lowest character? And what cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna by those who have fully surrendered at his lotus feet?
क्या समझा? Everything possible for ठीक है. तो दुनिया में ऐसी कौन सी भी चीज नहीं है जो वैष्णव टॉलरेट नहीं कर सकता. हाँ, और दुनिया में ऐसा कौन सा भी चीज नहीं है, ऐसा कौन सा भी पाप नहीं है जो अभक्त नहीं कर सकता. So here the situation is that the first child has taken birth and he is taking that child to Kamsa. So this is very painful thing, to give one's child to some enemy. Still, Vasudev is doing that because he is a religious person. He could have lied or he could have betrayed, but no, he didn't do that. He gave that small baby to Kamsa. So saintly person can give a small baby to Kamsa. Kamsa can kill a small baby, which nobody will do, but now everybody is doing. At least Kamsa allowed everybody to take birth out. He didn't do abortion of all 8 children, 7 children. He also such a demon. They also were having a class. They in demonism also they were not degraded. Those demons also had some principles. Not to kill a baby in the womb. So here akaryam, the kim akaryam kadaryanam, those who are hard-hearted, what things they cannot do. They can do even killing a small baby also. So that is the meaning of this verse. So sadhus will not hesitate to tolerate any bad thing, and bad people will not hesitate to do any damn bad thing. So both are not fearful. To tolerate anything will not be fearful. And these people are not fearful to any ghastly thing. So this was the context which I was telling. For which verse I told this? So you note down this number 10, 1, 58. This famous phrase actually. अरे ये स्लाइड से चालू करना है तो कैसा करते? What is how? From this slide to start presentation. ये क्या? हाँ? हाँ, तो अभी कहाँ पर हैं हम? अभी this is also very difficult to complete this chapter. For how many pages are there? We'll just 81 pages are there. We are at 41. 40 pages are there, and we have 35 minutes. है ना? We started at 2:30, no? Huh? 1:30? 1:30 to what time? 4:45? ठीक है, we have 45 minutes for 41 verses. So 1 minute, 1 verse. I'll keep my mouth. We'll just read. We'll just read translation. Huh? 2 more days. But other chapters, how many verses are there? This chapter has 50 verses. 60 verses. अरे पांडुरंग शरण प्रभु कहाँ चले गई? We lost him in second half. Next chapter has 44 verses. And last chapter has 51. And how many minutes sir we have? 180, 182. After 360 minutes we have. And 100 verses. नहीं आज का तो आज ही करेंगे. वो कितने? 3 minutes per verse. ठीक है, चलो. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य. कहाँ है हम? हाँ 30 नहीं, 20 नहीं. एवं राजा विदुरेणानुजेन प्रज्ञा चक्षुर्बोधित आजमीड छित्वा स्वेषु स्नेहपाशादृढ़ निश्चाम भातृसंदर्शिताब्ध. मैं क्या करता, नेक्स्ट टाइम वो सुबोधनी लेके आता हूँ. उसमें क्या है, वो फ्लो तो कंप्लीट कर देते.
Thus, Maharaj Dhritarashtra, the scion of the family of Ajameda, firmly convinced by introspective knowledge, Prajna, broke at once the strong network of familial affection by his renewed determination. Thus, he immediately left home to set out on the path of liberation, as directed by his younger brother Vidura.
हरि बोल. वो वर्ड्स मिल गया हमको 10:158. अजामिड़ा उनके फोरफादर है. धृतराष्ट्र, scion of the family of Ajamid. हाँ, अजामिड उनके एंसेस्टर्स. एक्चुअली सब डिटेल में है ना, हरिवंश में दिया है. You can read the Harivansh. It gives all the names of Krishna's son also. You know, Krishna has daughter. Their names, you know, daughter's name. Huh? Krishna had 10 sons, 1 daughter. So any daughter name you know? Huh? So what duty we are? What kind of duty? At least you know 10 sons, 100 sons names. ठीक है ये सब जैमलिंग हो जाते हैं but there is one nice Harivansh Puran is there which describes all lineages, so many names you will get shocked. So this should make us believe in Shastras. If people say they are concocting, nobody can concoct so much. There is limit, no? People after Harry Potter three volumes they are exhausted actually. They cannot write more. Their brain cannot work more. And every place they have mentioned is visible. You can prove also. If suppose A equal to B, B equal to C, C equal to D, if it is written, then A equal to D, no? So if they are mentioning Earth planet so well, which you can trace, you can find everything, then whatever they mention, other parts also should be traceable. People say Krishna married with so many wives and he danced with them and they will go for dancing. That much only they believe. Then they should believe the other part also which Krishna did. They say no, they are, whatever gratifies their senses, that part is true. And whichever is not, whichever is scary, fearful, you'll go to this hell, that hell, so many hells are described. They cannot breathe also. If so many hells are there. Even if you breathe without Krishna's, you will get some punishment. That they don't want to believe. So that's why we should have strong faith and don't get. They show something, they take a small ball, little ball, they show light and they show that how the eclipse is taking place. And everybody is made into believe in it. And they say you came from monkey. Everybody's, say agreeing to it. So that much people have, they say us sentimental, but these people are more sentimental than anybody else. And their theory has changed from one generation believed that they came from monkeys. The next generation says, no, you didn't come from monkey. He says only neutron, proton is there. The next generation says something else. So that whole generation died with ignorance, But our knowledge, nobody has changed anything. What they said that time, that is only they are saying now. So people should have faith in it. तो ये कहाँ इधर किधर आई डिवाइस चालू हो गए नेक्स्ट वर्स इसका ट्रांसलेशन पढ़े परपोर्ट पढ़ेगा okay we'll just go ahead प्रतिं पर्यांतं सुबलस्य पुत्री प्रतिव्रता चानुजगाम साध्वी हिमालयं मत्स्य दण्डप्रहर्षं मनस्विनामिव सत्समप्रहर The gentle and chaste Gandhari, who was the daughter of King Subala of Kandhar or Gandhar, followed her husband, seeing that he was going to the Himalaya mountains, which are delight of those who have accepted the staff of the renounced order, like a fighters who have accepted a good lashing from the enemy. So Gandhari is called one of the Satis, chaste wives. Even in that, the name of Mandari, Mandodari. Her name also is there. you know. So although their husband was, you know, not up to the mark, but they did their dharma of following him, you know, in good times, bad times, all times, they were there with them. अजात शत्रु कृतमेत्रो हुताग्नि विप्रान्नत्वा तिलगो भूरिकृक्मे गृहं प्रविष्टो गुरुवन्दनाय न चापश्यत् पितरो सबलिं च. Maharaj Yudhishthir, whose enemy was never born, performed his daily morning duties by praying, offering fire sacrifices to the sun god, and offering obeisances, grains, cows, land, and gold to the Brahmanas. He then entered the palace to pay respects to the elderly. However, he could not find his uncles or aunt, the daughter of King Subala. So, can you imagine Yudhishthir Maharaj, even after Dhritarashtra has done so much bad to him, he is touching every day the feet of Dhritarashtra. Tatra sanjamasinam eprachotviknamanasa gavallagnane kvasnastat tato vruddho hinas netrayo. Maharaj Yudhishthir, full of anxiety, turned to Sanjay, who was sitting there, and said, "O Sanjay, where our uncle, who is old man, old and blind?" Amba chahata putratam putrarta pitruvya kvagata surat api maya krita pradne hatabandhu sabhareya ashansamana shamalam gangayam dukkito apatat. Where is my well-wisher, Uncle Vidura, and Mother Gandhari, who is very afflicted due to all her sons' demise? My uncle Dhritarashtra was also very mortified due to the death of all his sons and grandsons. Unfortunately, I am very ungrateful. Did he therefore take my offenses very seriously, and along with his wife drown himself in the Ganga? So whom he is blaming Yudhishthira Maharaj? Himself. He is not feeling, happiness. अच्छा वो चले गए, without sending them out of home, they have gone. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is feeling pain. Even Dhritarashtra left. But current generation, they put their parents in old age home. Their own parents, which parents, those parents have done good to them whole life. So they become so hard-hearted to put such a parents also in old age home. But here Yudhishthira Maharaj is feeling so much pain, and he is thinking that what might have happened to them. Pitaryu parate pando sarvatra suruchishun arakshatam visanataha pitrovyokam gata vitha. When my father Pandu fell down, and we all small children, these two uncles gave us protection from all kinds of calamities. They were always our good well-wishers. Alas, where have they gone from here? Actually, one uncle protected, another uncle put him in calamities. But still he is overseeing all those bad what happened to them. Even if little bit good, they have done to them, they remember. So good person, they always remember favors done by anybody. And a bad person will forget whatever good others do to them. Sutovacha krupaya sneha vailka vyata suto virha karshit atmeshwaram achakshano na pratyahati pidita. So Goswami said, because of compassion and mental agitation, Sanjaya, not having seen his own master, Dhritarashtra, was aggrieved and could not properly reply to Maharaj Yudhishthir. So Sanjay also has same heart, like Dhritarashtra. He also was perplexed and aggrieved that where Dhritarashtra has gone. So you all please read purport. I am just going ahead. Vimrucha Shrunipane Vishtabhyatmana Atmana Ajata Shatrum Pratyuche Prabho Pada Vanusmaran. First, he slowly pacified his mind by intelligence and wiping away his tears, thinking of feet of his master, Dhritarashtra, he began to reply to Maharaj Yudhishthir. Babri, he is crying also. For which kind of master? Dhritarashtra kind of master. Yeah. So, it's height actually. So Sanjay is so noble-hearted personality. Sanjay Uvacha Naham Veda Vyavasitam Pitro va Kulanandana Gandhayam va Mahabhavo Gandharya va Mahabhavo Mushutosmi Mahatmavi. Sanjay said, my dear descendant of Kuru dynasty, I have no information of the determination of your two uncles and Gandhari. O king, I have been cheated by those great souls. I think Prabhupada speaks about cheating in this verse. Read the purport. Fast padho.
Great souls cheat others may be astonishing to know, but it is a fact that great souls cheat others for a great cause. It is said that Lord Krishna also advised Yudhishthira to tell a lie before Dronacharya, and it was also for a great cause. The Lord wanted it, and therefore it was a great cause. Satisfaction of the Lord is the criteria of one who is bona fide, and the highest perfection of life is to satisfy the Lord by one's occupational duty. That is the verdict of Gita and Bhagavatam. Dhritarashtra and Vidura, followed by Gandhari, did not disclose their determination to Sanjay, although he was constantly with Dhritarashtra as his personal assistant. Sanjay never thought that Dhritarashtra could perform any act without consulting him. But Dhritarashtra's going away from home was so confidential that it could not be disclosed even to Sanjay. Sanatan Goswami also cheated the keeper of the prison house while going away to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And similarly, Raghunath Das Goswami also cheated his priest and left home for good to satisfy the Lord. To satisfy the Lord, anything is good, for it is in relation with the absolute truth. We also had the same opportunity to cheat the family members and leave home to engage in the service of Srimad Bhagavatam. Such cheating was necessary for a great cause, and there is no loss for any party in such transcendental fraud.
Okay. So this cheating is allowed. Actually, devotee cheating also is beneficial. And outside world, whatever beneficial activities they do, that is all cheating. Whatever sincerity they have, whatever morality they have, that is all cheating because they are taking you away from. So many times we get mesmerized by seeing the courtesy which outsiders show, that we feel they are much better than the devotees. No. And then we feel, what a nice friend I have. And here we go for Harinam book distribution. Nobody keeps a plate of prasadam also. Then we feel, who are great? My friends used to take care of me so much, so nicely. And here, these are Vaishnavas, then they are not taking care of me. So let me go back to my best well-wishing friends. So that care, that hospitality will not award us spiritual world. But here, some neglect may happen or something may happen, but ultimately, some chastisement we may get. But all that will give us opportunity to be with the Lord. So we should have that conviction, patience, and remain in the asana of devotees. अथा जगाम भगवान् नारद सरुतुम्बुरु प्रत्युत्थाय अभिवाद्याय सानुजो अर्भयन् मुनि. But while Sanjay was thus speaking, Sri Narad, the powerful devotee of the Lord, appeared on the scene carrying his tumburu. Maharaj Yudhishthir and his brothers received him properly by getting up from their seats and offering obeisances. So Vidura came for Dhritarashtra, and now Narada Muni came for Yudhishthir Maharaj. Okay, read the purport.
But Devarshi Narad is described herein as Bhagwan due to his being the most confidential devotee of the Lord. The Lord and his confidential devotees are treated on the same level by those who are actually engaged in the loving service of the Lord. Such confidential devotees of the Lord are very much dear to the Lord because they travel everywhere to preach the glories of the Lord in different capacities and try their utmost to convert the non-devotees of the Lord into devotees in order to bring them to the platform of sanity. Actually, a living being cannot be non-devotee of the Lord because of his constitutional position. But when one becomes a non-devotee or non-believer, it is to be understood that the person concerned is not in a sound condition of life. The confidential devotees of the Lord treat such illusioned living beings, and therefore they are most pleasing in the eyes of the Lord. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita that no one is dearer to him than one who actually preaches the glories of the Lord to convert the non-believers and non-devotees. Such personalities as Narad must be offered all due respects, like those offered to the personality of Godhead himself. And Maharaj Yudhishthir, along with his noble brothers, were examples for others in receiving a pure devotee of the Lord like Narada, who had no other business save and except singing the glories of the Lord along with his veena, a musical string instrument.
So devotees travel to make uncomfortable people comfortable, and comfortable people uncomfortable. Those who have become relaxed in spiritual life, they go there to make them, uncomfortable. They make them to become more spirited, But they go outside world to solace the people who are in distress. Tava katha amritam tapta jivan. The people's life which is burning, they go there and they solace those people. युधिष्ठिरुवाच नाहं वेदगतिर्पित्रोर्भगवान् क्व गतवित अम्बावाहत पुत्रार्थ क्व गता स तपस्विनी. Maharaj Yudhishthir said, O godly personality, I do not know where my two uncles have gone, nor can I find my ascetic aunt, who is grief-stricken by the loss of all her sons. Read.
Maharaj Yudhishthir, as a good soul and devotee of the Lord, was always conscious of great loss of his aunt and her sufferings as an ascetic. An ascetic is never disturbed by all kinds of sufferings, and that makes him strong and determined on the path of spiritual progress. Queen Gandhari is a typical example of an ascetic because of her marvelous character in many trying situations. She was an ideal woman as mother, wife, and ascetic, and in the history of the world, such character in a woman is rarely found.
Actually, we all know what Gandhari has done favor to Pandavas. She made the body of Duryodhana as a iron steel. For what? He can kill a Bhim. Duryodhan can kill Bhim. So although she has done that, although they killed their 5 children, Pandavas lost their 5 children, still they have such a disposal towards Gandhari and Dhritarashtra. He is calling her as a Amba, my mother, a mother aunt. So this is soft heart of good soul. कर्णधाराय व्यापारे भगवान पारदर्शक अथा बभाषे भगवान नारदो मुनिसत्तमा. You are like a captain of a ship in a great ocean, and you can direct us to our destination. Thus address the godly personality Devarshi Narad, greatest of the philosopher devotees, began to speak. Okay, now Narad Muni is speaking. नारदुवाच मा कश्चन शुचो राजन् यदीश्वर वंश जगत् लोका सपाला यस्य मे वहन्ति बलिमीषितो स संयुक्ति भूतानि स एव विनयक्ति च. Shri Narada said, O pious king, do not lament for anyone. For everyone is under the control of Supreme Lord. Therefore all living beings and their leaders carry on worship to be well protected. It is He only who brings them together and disperses them. So this verse comes in Prahlad Maharaj section. The dust particles come together and then they get separated. ठीक है, 10 वर्ष है, 10 वर्ष ही बचे ना. You can read purport, I think. 20? 60 क्या? Okay. यथा गावो नसी प्रोत्तस्तन्त्या बद्धास्य दामभिः व्याक्तन्तां नामभिबद्धा वहन्ति बलिमीषिता. As a cow bound through the nose by a long rope is conditioned, so also human beings are bound by different Vedic injunctions and are conditioned to obey the orders of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so what one should do in human life? One should not become vagabond bull who has no thread in his nose. In a cow in village also, people leave some bulls on the name of God. Their job is only to eat and procreate children. They are not good for any field work. So that kind of bull one should not become, but one should live human life with abiding the rules of Vedic injunctions. यथा क्रीडोपस्काराणां संयोगा विगमाभिः इच्छया क्रीडतु स्यातां तथैवेशच्छयानुनाम्. As a player set up and disperses his playthings according to his own sweet will, so the supreme will of Lord brings men together and separates them. So Lord is compared to a player. Like he organizes the play, and at his will it gets dispersed. Yanmanyase dhruvam lokam adhruvam vanashobhayam sarvatha nahi shochaste snehad anyatra mohajat. O king, in all circumstances, whether you consider the soul to be an eternal parts principle or the material body to be perishable, or everything to exist in impersonal absolute truth, or everything to be an inexplicable combination of matter and spirit. Feelings of separation are due only to illusory affection and nothing more. So if somebody is materially afflicted, then he will lament and he will get affected by the separation. Tasmajaihanga Vailkavya Ajnana Krutamaatmana Katham Tanvatha Krupana Varte Raste Chamam Vina. Therefore, give up your anxiety due to ignorance of the self. You are now thinking of how they, who are helpless, poor creatures, will exist without you. So actually, we think that everything depends upon me. But world will not stop even if we go. Sometimes we are in project at a prime responsible position, and we may think, "Arey, without me, this project will not flourish." But if sometimes we go away, the project flourishes double. And then we'll surprise, "Arey, kya? I was obstacle there actually." And we literally, our ego gets smashed. So Lord has many servants. It's not that he is in crisis. Like when we go to Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra, there are some devotees carry fan for Jagannath, which has a silver handle. So for that single fan, their whole life is to just fan Krishna. Or some people have only 2 sticks. They just directing that horses. That is only their service. And such a servants filled all 3 carts. So Lord has abundant servants actually. We are only in scarcity. We think that, if I don't cook for Krishna, how he will eat? He will remain hungry. Nothing. Somebody else will come and people are waiting when you will leave. So nobody is going to, nothing is going to stop for Krishna. So we should take every opportunity as a privilege. That Lord could have many servants and they could be doing that, but somehow or other, the horse is missing, the donkey is chosen. So that we should feel. That unqualified person like me has got opportunity because great souls have given this opportunity to me. So we should feel unqualified, but we should render service. Not that any service is given, we say, I'm unqualified and escape services. That's not good thing. So we should take up service, although we are unqualified, but we should do our best to that service. So we are not never qualified. The qualification is given by spiritual master to us. And we should have faith in his qualification. Otherwise, like Ritvik say, nobody is powerful after Prabhupada. That means they're telling Prabhupada is so weak that he could not produce any another guru. So that is not the case. So whatever service is given to us, we should feel I'm unqualified, but it is given by my spiritual master, so I should render it. So we should not feel that, we should not tell our spiritual master, I'm unqualified for everything except taking prasad. So that is not the thing. Ahastani cha hastanam apadani cha dushpadam phalgun tatra mahatam jivo jivasya jivanam. Those who are devoid of hands are यही चल रहा है. काल कर्म गुणाधीनो देहोयम पंचभूतिका कथमन्यास्तु गोपेयत् सर्पकस्तु यथा परम. This gross material body made of 5 elements is already under the control of eternal time, kal, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guna. How then can it, being already in the jaws of the serpent, protect others? So we are already caught up in these all things. So we should not have pride that I am protecting somebody else. So only Krishna can protect others. So we should not try to become protector. Bharta is only Krishna. So we cannot become Bharta. Ahastani sahastana apadani chatushpadam phalguni tatra mahatam jivo jivasi jivanam. Those who are devoid of hands are prey for those who have hands. Those devoid of legs are prey for four-legged. The weak are the substance of the strong, and the general rule holds that one living being is food for another. So why this verse is getting, why this verse Narad Muni is telling? So they become jiva for another jiva. Yeah. ठीक है, purport पढ़ो.
A systematic
First,
A systematic law of subsistence in the struggle for existence is there by the supreme will, and there is no escape for anyone by any amount of planning. The living beings who have come to the material world against the will of the supreme being are under the control of supreme power called Maya Shakti, the deputed agent of the Lord. And this Maya Devi is meant to pinch the conditioned souls by threefold miseries, one of which is explained here in this verse. The weak are the subsistence of the strong. No one is strong enough to protect himself from the onslaught of stronger. And by the will of the Lord, there are systematic categories of the weak, the stronger, and the strongest. There is nothing to be lamented if the tiger eats a weaker animal, including a man, because that is the law of Supreme Lord. But although the law states that a human being must subsist on another living being, there is the law of good sense also. For the human being is meant to obey the laws of the scriptures. This is impossible for the other animals. The human being is meant for self-realization, and for that purpose, he is not to eat anything which is not first offered to the Lord. The Lord accepts from him the Lord accepts from his devotee all kinds of food preparations made of vegetables, fruits, leaves, grains. Fruits, leaves, and milk in different varieties can be offered to the Lord. And after the Lord accepts the foodstuff, the devotee can partake of the prasad, by which all suffering in the struggle for existence will be gradually mitigated. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9.26. Even those who are accustomed to eat animals can offer foodstuff, not to the Lord directly, but to an agent of the Lord, under certain conditions of religious rites. Injunctions of the scriptures are meant not to encourage the eaters of the animals, but to restrict them by regulative principles. The living being is the source of subsistence for others, stronger living beings. No one should be very anxious for his subsistence in any circumstances, because there are living beings everywhere, and no living being starves for want of food at any place. Maharaj Yudhishthir is advised by Narad not to worry about his uncles suffering for want of food, for they could live on vegetables available in the jungles as prasad of the Supreme Lord, and thus they realize the path of salvation. Exploitation of the weaker living being by the stronger is natural law of existence. There is always an attempt to devour the weak in different kingdoms of living beings. There is no possibility of checking this tendency by any artificial means under material conditions. It can be checked only by the awakening of spiritual sense of the human being, by practice of spiritual regulations. The spiritual regulative principles, however, do not allow a man to slaughter weaker animals on one side and teach others peaceful coexistence. If man does not allow the animals peaceful coexistence, how can he expect peaceful existence in human society? The blind leaders must therefore understand the supreme being and then try to implement the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God or Ram Rajya is impossible without the awakening of God consciousness in the mass mind of the people of the world.
so here this verse is mainly explained that your parents will be, our uncle and aunt will get something to eat, because that is the nature created by Krishna. So Prabhupada tells that except devotee, everybody eats for their own gratification. But devotee only offer to Krishna, and they don't implicate themselves in the cycle of birth and death. So that is for devotees. So if lion is alive for 100 years, that means he has killed how many animals? His stomach is a graveyard actually. And that's what we have seen. The kings also. For one Hitler, how many people died? So they are like in a human body, have that superior they are very orators, good orators. So they have misdirected the society and they have killed so many people by just their order. And now also this happens. There are some nations who are very powerful. So they try to eat the small nation. In ocean also there is so much havoc is there. We see ocean is peaceful, oh, it's look nice. But those who are there, they know how much scaring it is. One Devmasa, what do you call it? Shark, whale. It eats so many small fishes. In one gulp, some 1,000 fishes died to keep that one giant limited. So in one cycle of, in one day for that shark, and she is living for many generations. The shark is living, suppose 100 years, 100 generations the shark has eaten. So same way there are, planets also. Like one Brahma's day, there are so many Manus come and go. And in one Manu's day, there are so many things happen. Like we sleep. In one night we sleep. There are some animals took birth. They got married also. They got children also. They died also. So like that, it's going on this world. The situation is there. So you don't worry about them. They are died or not. You don't worry. Who are on the route? Okay. And after we worry, what happens? Okay. Still many people are left. So that's what, we cannot try best. What best we can try? See, Krishna already made a system which will give everybody nourishment. We feel that I can give nourishment. And everybody got realization when Corona came, that how powerful everybody is. We made milk sweets from milk powder and whatnot we did. It's just a humbling situation actually. Lord was giving so much and we never felt grateful. And one virus which nobody is able to see has stopped all planes which are flying in the sky. All vehicles on the highways. So that is that Jiva has such a power that most powerful people kept quiet with atom bombs, who have atom bombs in their hand. they also cannot do anything. So what control we are speaking about? What good we can do about? So only we can do good is understand who is the protector, who is the maintainer, and submit ourselves to him. So the most powerful person is Krishna. And we are the most weakest. So we should take shelter of that powerful person than surrendering to some other little stronger politician or any other person who himself is going to be devoured by somebody else. So if people are going to forest, so they will not take some guards with them. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj didn't took a whole entourage with him, Like we go for Dindi, how much do we prepare it? We have water tanker behind, we have prasadam behind, our luggage is in somewhere. Dhritarashtra didn't go with like that, one water tanker, one tent tanker, 2-3 cooks, nothing. They just left. And that was the earlier process. People used to just go. Having faith in God. If I take shelter of Krishna, even if I die, it is good for me. So that faith one should develop, in human life at least. अभी जस्ट वर्सेस पढ़ेंगे हेड बोल हाँ कितने बचे आपने तदिदं भगवान राजेनेकं आत्मा ठीक है ट्रांसलेशन नहीं पढ़ता हूँ Therefore, O king, you should look to the Supreme Lord only, who is one without a second, who manifests himself by different energies and is both within and without. Okay, we came to the why this verse is spoken. To come to the conclusion is to take shelter of Krishna, who is the most powerful. Taking his shelter will never fail. Taking any other shelter will a failure. So I am that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, is the guise of all devouring time, Kala group, has now descended on earth to eliminate the envious from the world. Okay? The Lord has already performed his duties to help the demigods, and he awaiting the rest. You Pandavas may wait as long as the Lord is here on earth. O king, your uncle Dhritarashtra, his brother Vidura, and his wife Gandhari have gone to the southern side. Southern side southern side of the Himalayan mountains. Okay. Where there are shelters of great sages. So Himalayas is on northern side and Himalayas southern side. They have gone. So Prabhupada has mentioned in place. No. The place is called Saptasar. Okay, place is mentioned here. The place is called Saptastrot, divided by 7, because the waters of the sacred Ganga were divided into 7 branches. This was done for the satisfaction of the 7 great rishis. On the banks of Saptasrot, Dhritarashtra is now engaged in beginning Ashtanga Yoga by bathing 3 times daily in the morning, noon, and evening, by performing the Agnihotra sacrifice with fire and by drinking only water. This helps one control the mind and the senses and frees one completely from thoughts of family affection. One who has controlled the sitting posture, the yogic asanas, and the breathing processes can turn the senses toward the absolute personality of Godhead and thus become immune to the contaminations of the modes of material nature, namely mundane, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Dhritarashtra will have to amalgamate his pure identity with intelligence and then merge into Supreme Being with the knowledge of his qualitative oneness as a living entity. With the Supreme Brahman being freed from the blocked sky, he will have to rise to the spiritual sky. He will have to suspend all actions of senses, even from the outside, and we'll have to be impervious of interactions of the senses, which are influenced by the modes of material nature. After renouncing all material duties, he must become immovably established beyond all sources of hindrance on the path. O king, he will quit his body most probably on the 5th day from today, and his body will turn to ashes. Okay, now here Narad Muni has predicted. And what a difficult process Dhritarashtra is performing compared to what is given to us. We are chanting Hare Krishna with the best of comforts. Fan is there, devotees are around. So our process is not so difficult. While outside observing her husband, who will burn in the fire of mystic power along with his thatched cottage, his chaste wife will enter the fire with her rapt attention. So, Sati system was very ghastly system. People used to force the wives of man, forcibly they used to put her on fire. But earlier, the wives were so devoted that they could not tolerate the separation. They voluntarily used to enter in the fire. But current system, the Mataji will put fire, and they will go away. Forget about entering in the fire. So this is our brahmacharis. Huh? Sometimes man becomes so mad he cannot tolerate the. She insults so badly in public. Yeah, he becomes very much agitated when he commits suicide. So Bhagavatam also tells he might have conquered 10 directions. He may be Samrat Maharaj for the public, but in the bedroom, he just becomes a play toy. She makes him dance with her eyebrows on her. An example is also is given. Maharaj Purava, such a great personality, was kneeled down by Urvashi, and she only tells this verse. These things. Vidarastu tatha sharjam nishamya kurunandana harshokayudastasmad ganta tirtha nishevaka. Vidura, being affected with the delight and grief, will then leave that place of sacred pilgrimage. Having spoken thus, the great sage Narada, along with his Vina, ascended into outer space. Yudhishthir kept his instructions in his heart and so was able to get rid of all lamentation. So Narada Muni came, he comforted Yudhishthir Maharaj that you don't worry, your uncle and aunt are safe and he is going to perform devotion service and he will get liberated, and along with that your aunt also will take burn herself and she will also go to higher destination, and Vidur Maharaj also safe and he is also dedicated to Lord. So that way he instructed Yudhishthir and pacified his heart. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of first canto, 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnava ki jai. So please, my dear Prabhus, my request is read the purports. Huh? So with good faith, I am leaving you. Huh? So tomorrow, 10:45.